Baby makes three. Strengthening your relationship for the journey of parenthood. The anticipation of welcoming your first child into the world is an exhilarating time, filled with dreams, hopes, and a touch of nervous excitement. First of all, congrats if you're expecting your first child. It's important to note, however, as a couples therapist, that amidst the baby showers and nursery preparations, it's also crucial to remember that this upcoming transition to parenthood can significantly impact your relationship. And it's also fair to say that inevitably it will impact your relationship. Both of you will change. Studies have shown that within 3 years after the birth of a child, approximately 2/3 of parents experience a marked decline in their relationship quality. So I'm not saying this to scare you, but just to make you aware of a very common tendency in relationships to really decline in satisfaction. But again, it's not inevitable. It's only 2/3 of parents. So as a certified Gottman couples therapist and a certified bringing baby home educator, I've seen firsthand how couples can not only weather the storm of a new baby, but they can also emerge even stronger by proactively preparing their relationship for those challenges and the joys of parenthood. So let's talk about the Gottman Approach. Nurturing love amidst change is basically what we're shooting for. The Gottman research highlights the profound impact the quality of the parent relationship has on the development of infants and children. A strong and loving bond between parents creates a secure and nurturing environment that fosters the child's emotional and cognitive growth. Recognizing this, Gottman Couples Therapy and workshops aim to empower couples to navigate the transition to parenthood with grace and resilience. There are many key elements to a thriving relationship, and I won't go into each one in detail, but I will mention that they include the following. Open communication. Honest, transparent communication is the cornerstone of any healthy relationship. Of course, it's not everything, but it's a key element. And I encourage all couples, especially those with a baby on the way, to encourage open dialogue about your fears, your expectations, and your dreams for parenthood, and to hear each other out without judgment. Number 2 is conflict resolution skills. So, disagreements are inevitable, but it really is critical how you handle them. And that's what matters. So once you have the stress of diapers or nappies and, maybe a baby with colic, you're going to have additional stress. And so even if you have okay conflict resolution skills, you're going to be in a very intense sort of situation where your conflict resolution skills may decline. Learning how to have grace with each other, and really learning how to prevent resentment and quickly repair and foster understanding will be critical, because both of you will, in theory, be new to parenting. And so you'll both be learning, you'll both be under a lot of stress, and it'll be important to really know how to get through conflict quickly and feel better about the relationship after the inevitable conflict. Number 3 is trust and commitment. So as you probably also know, trust is one of the bedrocks of a strong relationship. Nurturing trust by being reliable and dependable, supportive, and honoring your commitments and being there for each other, especially with the new baby, is going to be absolutely critical. I can't tell you how many times I've had couples come into the office years after their first baby was born, holding on to so many resentments that are totally understandable, but that often occurred after the birth of the first child. Maybe expectations weren't met, or they weren't clearly communicated, or one person really just wasn't there for the other person. One person felt like they were really doing all the heavy lifting, or one person felt really judged in the way that they were trying to parent. All those things can come up. And so planning ahead and learning how to really be there for each other is really important. Number 4 is individual responsibility, taking ownership of your actions and your emotions and avoiding blaming your partner for your feelings, just learning how to express them without blame, and also really being there for each other, being interdependent and being able to really depend on each other and ask each other for help and show up for each other is really important during this, especially during this phase when the baby is coming first, not the relationship. That, both of you caring for the baby really is number 1 for a while. And then lastly, friendship. learning how to cultivate a deep sense of friendship with your partner is important, especially once you become parents. Learning how to keep the laughter going, keep the joy, keep the supportive best friend sort of support for each other through those ups and downs of early parenthood is really, really important, so that you feel like you're in it together. You both, have a mission to raise this child and to also cultivate an ongoing sense of team and friendship and togetherness. And when we talk about not only these key elements to a thriving relationship, it's also important to note the impact of children on relationships. So inevitably having a baby is going to bring about significant shifts in your relationship. So it's a common myth for some people to believe that having a baby might change things a little bit, but they often don't understand the seismic shifts that will happen. And so just going ahead and expecting that things really are going to change is important, and that both of you are going to change as people. Your needs, your roles, your priorities, and it's essential to acknowledge and navigate these changes together. Sometimes one person wants to continue to just live like an individual rather than as a mother or a father or a partner. That can be really problematic. Before the baby arrives, therapy can really help you to evaluate the balance of your own individual needs across various aspects of your life, like whether it's getting exercise or sleep, or, how much you work and how much caretaking you do for the baby, and providing really some sort of reference point for how you're going to adjust to those new dynamics is going to be really important, especially since both of you may have very different expectations, who's going to be there and how often and how much me time you get, et cetera, et cetera. The next thing when it comes to having a baby is to talk about why relationships fail, especially during, the first, child sort of experience. Inevitably, stress is heightened if you already have communication or conflict problems or trust problems, or any of the other essential ingredients aren't there. That makes it even more difficult. But oftentimes through the Gottman research, we were able to really identify in couples the types of ways that couples, that their relationship declines in the way that they kind of interact. It's often what they call the 4 horsemen. Number 1, criticism. Number 2, defensiveness. Number 3, contempt. And number 4, stonewalling, or emotionally shutting down during conflict. And so being able to recognize and address these really destructive patterns is also crucial for maintaining a healthy and loving relationship before the baby comes, and addressing that so that that will only get worse once a baby is there if you haven't addressed those. For making the relationship still strong, even after baby comes, I would say that there are, 6 things that you need to really strengthen after having a baby, and that, should hopefully already be present in your relationship, but strengthening it is always going to take a lot of effort and intention, and that includes turning towards each other by responding positively to your partner's bids for connection, both big and small. And then number 2, really increasing those positive interactions. You can't necessarily give each other a whole date night, but, little moments whenever you are around each other to focus on building positive experiences and memories together. So maybe you're passing them, they've got a dirty diaper in hand on the way to the trash can, you've got the baby, you're headed towards, the bathtub, and you just exchange glances and you smile just about how absurd that your baby just had another blowout. Those moments of connection, those add up. The moments of, hey, thanks for taking that to the trash. I didn't need to say that, but I'm adding another deposit in the emotional bank account. So really making those teeny tiny deposits that take very little effort, but still add up and make the other person feel seen and loved and heard and appreciate. Those are critical. Number 3 is accepting personal responsibility. Again, we mentioned that earlier, but taking ownership of your own contributions to the conflict and challenges. There's nothing that'll make you grow up quicker than having a baby. And unfortunately, one of the reasons why so many people do fail during parenthood is that one person hasn't yet grown up and they haven't learned to take responsibility. So this is really, really key. If someone's still living like me, myself, and I, they've got to, kind of think about 2.0. What is this more mature, responsible parent that I'm hopefully becoming, who does not put myself first, who puts the needs of my child, my family first? Not that you're just going to be a shell of a person and not taking care of yourself. Of course, you can practice some self-care, but ultimately really taking responsibility and putting that baby first is going to be critical. Also for the relationship, to make the partner feel like you're on this mission of raising this little human together. Next one is prioritizing intimacy. So not necessarily sex. Sex often declines for a while, obviously. And so not necessarily thinking about sex and physical intimacy as staying the same. It will change, but really making time for physical and emotional connection that, may just look different. So when you're tired and overwhelmed, maybe you're not thinking intercourse, but there's going to be more cuddling, or there might be more back rubs, or more brief moments of physical or emotional connection that aren't going to be, again, like the same length of time or date night, or it's just not going to look the same for a while. But still valuing that and still prioritizing that is important. Next would be regulating conflict. With, again, the stress of a new baby, it's critical that you learn how to, manage your disagreements and think of them as, just again, two different people with two different backgrounds, having two different perspectives, needs, preferences, that it's not a dictatorship. Neither person has the capital T truth on how a baby should be raised, or the only way to change a diaper, or, you may really feel strongly about something, but having an opinion and a preference and still leaving space for the other person to have their own opinions and preferences is going to be key. What I see a lot with new couples too is that if there is one primary partner or default partner who's more around the baby, they can often take over and start to really, understandably feel protective of the baby and doing things a certain way. And sometimes that can unfortunately push the other partner out, where they feel like they're criticized or that anything that they're doing is not right. So it's important to really regulate that conflict, to allow each other to have very civil, calm disagreements where, you're able to express yourself in a respectful and civil way, but and share your preferences without being demeaning or putting the other person down. And then lastly, being able to restore balance, like finding ways to get back to balance, back to fairness in your relationship, even as your roles and responsibilities shift. So, it's not uncommon for two people who are dinks or dual income, no kids, to have their first child, and for maybe one person to push pause on their career, and maybe they stay home for a while with the child. And, that can really shift the roles and also can shift the way you show up in the relationship. And so if you're starting to shift there, talking about what feels fair, what feels balanced, it's going to be different for every couple, but being able to talk about that and to make sure that you're both feeling like it's fair is going to be important. And then lastly, if you need help, get it. There's therapy, there are workshops. We certainly have those at Couples Counseling ATL. But there's also Baby Makes 3, Baby Bomb. There are great books that you can also pick up and read together to help you with that transition to parenthood. And so just by being proactive and trying to prevent problems before they occur is not only a gift to yourself and your relationship, but especially to the baby that you're going to be bringing home. They need two parents who both love them and love each other, ideally. That really will make a difference in your child's life, but also in your life, and will help prevent the relationship from dissolving or buckling under the stress of a new baby. And at Couples Counseling ATL, we're really committed to helping parents build a strong foundation for their family. We often see couples who maybe wouldn't have considered couples therapy before. They had a good relationship, but they are concerned about the transition to parenthood. They've seen their friends have babies. They know how stressful it can be. And so oftentimes they're just being really proactive, and they're trying to work on things before a baby comes and get a strong foundation. And then maybe we do some great work and they come back on an as-needed basis. They establish a relationship with a therapist who knows them and knows their story and knows their strengths and weaknesses. And then they can come back again and again if and when they need some help. And so if you're looking for a couples therapist to help you prepare for baby and to get your relationship into a healthy place before you have a child, give us a call or reach out to us at counselingatl.com. You can learn more. You can also schedule a free 20-minute video consultation with any of our therapists. We're here to support you. Thank you so much.